You ever have one of those days where before you've even had a chance to finish your coffee, you find yourself standing shirtless in your own front yard, half the neighborhood staring at you, and some lady's waving a clipboard at your face like she's leading a SWAT team raid? Yeah, that happened. And let me tell you, nothing prepares you for the unique humiliation of being ordered by your HOA's reigning tyrant, let's call her Karen, to immediately cover up for the sake of community standards. I can still feel the air freeze solid around me, everyone holding their breath like they were waiting for a car crash. Only I was the car, and Karen was driving straight through my sanity. So picture this. I'm there, heart thumping, Karen's finger jabbing the air, her voice slicing through the morning calm. You are in violation, and me thinking, is this real life? Am I on a hidden camera show? But no, all too real. And with everyone's eyes burning holes through me, I just lifted my shirt. Not in defiance, more like, here, take a good look, because this isn't about my skin. My tattoo, deep, dark, and unmistakable, crawled into view. The second she saw it all, the color drained from her face. For a second, her whole queen of the cul-de-sac routine shattered. And it hit me, her terror wasn't about bare chests or some code violation. It was about what that mark meant, a kind of authority she couldn't bully or bend. Let me back up a sec. Karen had been running this neighborhood for years, ruling by sticky notes and complaint forms, always on patrol for hedge heights and mailbox alignments, writing up folks for parking an inch too far from the curb. You know the type lives for the sound of her own rules. When I moved in a few weeks back, I kept my head down, figured I'd stay out of her way, but apparently not showing up for mandatory community improvement meetings or smiling on command made me some kind of enemy of the state. I got my first warning for grilling too close to my porch. Apparently, the smell of hickory smoke disrupted the neighborhood's olfactory harmony. My second, for daring to wear an old gym shirt while grabbing my morning paper. Honestly, I laughed her off, not realizing she was building up to something. That morning, the sun's shining birds are singing, I'm finishing up some push-ups before work. Shirtless, sure, but not out of rebellion just because it's hot. Then I spot Karen assembling a small mob clipboard brandished like Excalibur. She marches over a posse in tow and tells me, with all the drama of a police standoff, that my visual non-compliance threatens the sacred suburban order and I have to put on a shirt or face immediate disciplinary measures. I kid you not, people were actually craning their necks around the hedges hoping for blood. When she started shouting louder, I took my time. Made a little show of peeling my shirt off, not to taunt her, just to let the absurdity of the whole thing breathe. The tattoo on my chest, let's just say it's not some flash art from a Vegas weekend. It's a badge in ink. The kind you earn, not buy. The kind that makes headlines that says you've walked into rooms most folks never want to see. The crowd went dead quiet. Karen saw it. And man, she choked mid-sentence, her pen dropping, her confidence collapsing. Suddenly, the one who'd policed everyone's lives looked as helpless as a kid caught breaking her own rules. She tried to recover, of course stumbling over her words, accusing me of intimidation tactics and inappropriate body art, but the quiver in her voice told the real story. I just slung my shirt over my shoulder, kept calm, watched as her army of neighbors fidgeted. Some looked embarrassed, others maybe relieved. Her whole act, years of petty power, crumbled right there. I asked, "Are you finished?" Just that. No anger, just enough. For the first time I saw her doubt herself. And it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about how far someone could push before their authority snapped. But Karen never one to back down, called an emergency HOA meeting, tried to rewrite bylaws on the spot, summoned her board to my doorstep like she was the mayor and the sheriff rolled into one. Rumors about my tattoo spread faster than her flyers. Somebody even snapped a blurry pic, posted it online, and the wild theory started. Was I ex-military FBI, a disgraced superhero? Suddenly, the community's usual gossip about whose lawn needed mowing was replaced by talk of task forces and secret operations. That night, I got a text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have revealed that here." Yeah, that got my attention. Turns out exposing that tattoo, something I'd kept hidden for years, set off more alarms than I'd ever intended. Karen's power trip had woken up something way bigger than her or me. The next day, Karen stayed behind closed blinds, apparently typing up new rules and practicing her "I'm still in charge" face. Neighbors were split. Some glared like I'd brought a plague. Others nodded in awkward solidarity. On the HOA chat board, my tattoo was trending, and the wildest theories won. By mid-morning, Karen showed up at my door, flanked by 3 board members like nervous Secret Service agents. She started rambling about emotional disruption and symbolic aggression, claiming my chest was a threat to the fabric of the community. All the while, she avoided looking at the tattoo as if seeing it again would turn her to stone. I asked her, "Did you actually verify anything you're saying?" That stopped her cold. One neighbor, finally finding a backbone, asked if her demand was even legal, and Karen turned on him so fast you'd think he'd switched teams. Phones flashed. People whispered. Drama bloomed in real time. And then, just as she threatened to escalate, a black sedan pulled up. Out stepped a sharply dressed man with a presence that said he wasn't there for a bake sale. He handed me a sealed envelope, addressed me by name, ignored Karen's flustered demands for explanation, and was gone as quickly as he'd come. When I opened the letter inside my house, the message was crystal clear. My past wasn't as past as I'd thought, and the exposure of that tattoo had set some old wheels spinning. That evening, an emergency HOA meeting was announced, ostensibly for community threat assessment, but really it was Karen's last-ditch effort to clutch at power. That meeting was pure theater. Karen tried introducing new rules about personal visual compliance and emotional safety, but every word sounded more desperate than the last. People finally started speaking up. Someone's sister remembered the same tattoo from a law enforcement unit. Another neighbor Googled the emblem right there and muttered, "Well, damn." The air got thick as folks realized Karen had poked something way bigger than a shirtless neighbor. Just as Karen tried pushing through a vote to ban all potentially aggressive symbols, another black sedan arrived. Another envelope delivered protocols, reviews, reminders of boundaries Karen could never command. That was it. Her influence dissolved right there. People left the meeting not angry, but relieved. The next morning, letters went out about a review of Karen's leadership. Her loyalists started distancing themselves, and by evening, the only thing louder than the silence in her house was the hum of actual conversation between neighbors who, for the first time, weren't worried about being watched. As days went by, things changed. Apologies appeared, actual honest apologies from folks who'd played along with Karen's games out of fear or habit. The HOA board restructured new rules drafted with words like compassion and respect instead of compliance and infraction. People invited me to coffee, asked about my story, not out of fear but genuine curiosity. And Karen, she faded into her own house, no longer the neighborhood shadow, just a woman behind a curtain nursing the weight of her own mistakes. The balance shifted. Kids played louder. Parents laughed more, and lawns grew just a little wilder. Less parade ground. More home. The neighborhood breathed, maybe for the first time. My tattoo, once a target, became a quiet reminder of resilience, mine and theirs. Funny thing, when the dust settled, what I remembered most wasn't the drama, but the small, brave shifts. People found their voices, questioned the rules, rebuilt the trust they'd given away too easily. And as I stood under the stars, porch light off, listening to the gentle hush, I realized this wasn't just about Karen or me. It was about all of us relearning how to live without fear and figuring out that real strength. Real leadership means knowing when to step back, listen, and let people grow. So now I got to ask, where do you draw the line between order and overreach, between keeping the peace and controlling it? And what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Drop a comment. Share your story because, let's be real, we all know a Karen, but maybe we can all learn to handle one just a little bit better next time.